Hey all, welcome back to my kitchen. I'm Amanda. If you're new here, welcome. Today's video is another week of what I fed my family. Specifically here in the summer, I'm in Michigan and I love to be outside with the kids. So if I don't have to spend all day cooking in the kitchen, that is a win for me. So I have some quick breakfasts, some quick snacks, as well as the dinners that we ate this week that help us maximize the warm temperatures outside and spend less time cooking, but yet still giving us nutritious and delicious meals. If you've watched any of my videos before, you know that I will make an egg bake for myself and my family. I usually do an egg white, so this week I mixed it up and blended cottage cheese and my egg whites together. I blended it so that it had more of a silky texture and then put them in these muffin tins. I added spinach, salt and pepper, and then just baked these for about 25 minutes in the oven at 350. Next time, I think I just cooked them in a baking dish so that they were easier to get out. I served this with some sweet potatoes, hot sauce, and ketchup. It was delicious. Heading into our next snack, this is going to be some apple cinnamon energy bites. I made these for a snack for the kids, but also for me as my pre-workout snack. I really enjoyed these and will make them again. I just added 2 cups of rolled oats, about a half cup of peanut butter. You can do regular. I did my homemade. A 1/3 cup of maple syrup, and then 1 medium apple shredded finely. I also did a teaspoon of cinnamon. I gave this a good mix until it was all incorporated, and then used kind of like an ice cream scoop or a cookie dough scoop here just to portion them out. I put these in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes until they came together, until I rolled them into individual balls. And then you'll see here, this is exactly how they turned out. They were really, really good. Like I said, I would definitely make these again. Next up, we have some savory cheesy zucchini muffins. This was just another quick snack that I was hoping to give the kids. I think I actually enjoyed them more than they did, but still it was pretty good. I went ahead and added some milk and some whole wheat flour, a shredded zucchini, 2 eggs, and then about a half cup of cheddar cheese. Now, you don't have to blend this, but I decided to. That way, the zucchini and the cheese were going to be all smooth. I didn't really want there to be strands of zucchini in the muffins, partly so that I wouldn't notice the texture, but also so that my kids wouldn't. Not that that's a big deal, but I did find that they just reminded me more of like a muffin. And then I did end up adding a little bit more cheese on the top and just kind of mix that in. Baked these in the oven until they were cooked through. And yeah, these are another keeper. I would be making these again for sure in the summer months. For our first meal, I'm actually going to be making a mango salsa that I'm going to use for a couple of meals this week. For the first one, we're going to do it with grilled chicken and rice. But to make this, I'm kind of not following a recipe, but I have a pico de gallo recipe that I normally use, and I'm kind of using a version of that. It's just using Roma tomatoes, and I have this veggie chopper, which I actually like because it makes the vegetables all really small, and so when you're eating it all, you're getting a bite of almost every single vegetable. I really enjoy having this chopper. So like I said, we're using about 3 Roma tomatoes, 1 long English cucumber, and I'm also going to use a whole red pepper, and then 1 mango. I'll chop all of these up finely in the veggie chopper. To bring this all together, I'm just going to use a juice from 1 lime and then some salt. Add that cilantro and give it a really good shake so everything is mixed in evenly. and just look at all of this beautiful color. There is just something so satisfying about seeing the rainbow on your plate. It just makes me so happy. We ended up using this mango salsa in another recipe. It was crock-pot chicken tacos. I used chicken thighs that I cooked in the crock-pot with taco seasoning, any kind that you like, basically until it just is covered in the seasoning. And then I also added about half a cup of chicken stock just so it wouldn't dry out while cooking. I cooked that on high for 2 to 3 hours, and I served this over rice. The kids got some chips, and I also gave myself half an avocado. The next recipe I'm going to show you is my favorite way to enjoy salmon. I use about a 1/4 cup of olive oil, then some fresh parsley, a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of onion powder, a teaspoon of smoked paprika, and 3 teaspoons of, I used coconut sugar here, but you could use brown sugar as well. Give it a good mix. You don't need to use fresh parsley. You could actually use about a tablespoon of dried parsley instead. I was just going to use parsley in a recipe later this week. So I patted some salmon dry. This is about 3 3-ounce fillets that I defrosted. And then I just cover the fillets with our spice mixture here. Just make sure it's fully covered. So that this mixture doesn't go to waste, I'm actually going to rinse off some green beans as well and just toss the green beans in our oil and spice mixture so everything will kind of be coated in it. And I'm telling you, you got to give this a try if you love a nice savory, flavorful salmon. You got to give this a try. So when this is all covered and put on the pan, I'm going to go ahead and put this in the oven. Bake everything at 425 degrees for 15 minutes. So the last meal that I made this week was a flank steak with chimichurri. We're going to get started with our chimichurri here, and we're going to use about 2 cups of parsley. I will leave the recipe in the description box, but we are using parsley and a mixture of cilantro, mostly because that's what I had in my fridge. And then I actually got smart here, and instead of using my knife, I'm going to use my food processor. So again, with that parsley and cilantro, they're going into the food processor. Then I've got 5 cloves of garlic, and we're going to add our spices. The recipe called for shallots. I didn't have any, so I just used minced onion. Then we have 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, a tablespoon of oregano, a teaspoon of salt, and like a half teaspoon of pepper. And then I just used a 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper flakes, and then 2 tablespoons of red wine vinegar. We're going to blend this all up in the food processor, and then I'm going to emulsify about a half cup of olive oil, and this is just going to bring everything together. Now it's time for the main start of this meal, and that is the flank steak. So I just seasoned this with salt and pepper and let it rest in the fridge for most of the morning. And then we're going to go ahead and grill this until it's cooked and reaches a minimum of 135 degrees internal temperature. I always like to rest my meat for about 5 minutes in like a little tinfoil tent before I cut it. I served this with rice and broccoli, but this would have been great with roasted potatoes or green beans. I hope you enjoyed watching today's video and I gave you some inspiration for seasonal summer meals that allow you to enjoy being outside with your family and not always hanging out in the kitchen. And thanks for watching.